Yes.
Also, abgesehen vom Willkommen, danke, dass ihr da alle gekommen seid. Geshe-la wird in Englisch sprechen. We will speak in English.
Okay.
Und ist normalerweise hat das wunderbar immer funktioniert. Was went very well.
Okay.
Aber wenn wer wirklich Schwierigkeiten hat, ja, das ist ein wunderbares Englisch, aber wenn wer Schwierigkeiten hat, es mir bitte zu sagen, dann finden wir eine Lösung. Ja? Also da setze ich mich oder irgendwer anderer neben euch und sagen dann die wichtigsten Dinge. Ja, also keine Scheu, wenn es wirklich nicht geht. Der Vorteil ist, wenn er Englisch spricht, dass er natürlich mehr sagen kann, als wenn die Zeit dann immer mit der Übersetzung sozusagen die Zeit wegnimmt. Ja? Also wenn es nicht geht, mir bitte sagen. So I said, it's good because you speak English so well, so it's so easy to understand.
Also I can speak very well in German.
But in case someone cannot follow, has some difficulty, they should mention to me and then we find an arrangement. But we prefer in English because then we can do more with the time saving. Yeah, that's the reason why. But in case if there are difficulties, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Nice. Oh yeah. So this is not my first time coming to the center, but this is the first time coming to this place, this new place, and it is great joy as well as great honor, to come to the new center and have a 2 weekend discussion on this very important text, Herzsutra. Important in the sense of because of its subject, the sutra's subject. So therefore, I feel extremely joy, excitement, and also great honor, be here with you and to have this opportunity. As you know, most of you, some of you know quite well, when I lead these kind of classes, how I do the class is more, like the discussion in the sense of me not as a teacher, but as a, another sort of follower of Buddha, like you, most of you, and to lead the discussion. And so therefore here, I'm not here as your teacher, I'm here as a person who have studied these texts, in particular the Heart-Sutra, and I don't know that well in this kind of subject, but I have studied, I have received many teachings, and on those bases, I try to share the understandings, the things with others. So that's my role in here. And in your role, also, like a some of you are already have taken refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, therefore as a follower of Buddha. Some of you are interested in taking the Buddha Dharma as your spiritual path, therefore you have this strong interest. Some of you are not necessarily want to follow the Buddha's path, but have a strong interest to learn, to study, and to put into practice some of the helpful, useful, the Buddha's teachings. And some of you are here under that basis. So in that way, we all we are all here to really as a follower of Buddha and to learn his teachings. And that is the where we are, and what you call including myself. So it is a great honor and the great joy to lead the discussion. Now the class will start with spending few minutes, making sure we have the right attitude, right states of mind to participate in the activities. So we are going to spend few minutes on that, which is very, very important, to have a right states of mind to join the activities. Activities such as physically, being here, mentally, you may want to say some prayers with me, and not mentally, verbally, and mentally listen to the talk, contemplate what is said, familiarize what is said, meditate what is said. So to participate with your body, speech and mind in these activities, it is extremely helpful and useful with the right attitude, or the traditionally what is called positive motivation, or the right motivation. So we are going to spend few minutes on that, which I will explain a little bit in detail. After that, we are going to do a short silent meditation. This time I will not lead the meditation, but we will do a short silent meditation. Purpose of that meditation is to make sure our mind is not just in a right states of mind, but that right states of mind is right here and now at this place with this body, and is fully alert, fully aware to the present moment, what is said, what is happening. So to make that kind of mental quality or mental ability, we'll do a short silent meditation. Then after that, I will start talk on the Herzsutra. So that will be the structure. And this morning we have until 1 o'clock. If we need a short break, we'll take a short break from now and between 1 o'clock, then have another session. Then of course there's a lunch. After lunch, when we come back, we'll start with some question and answer discussion session. Because after lunch, our minds are not that productive. So therefore, it is good to spend time to have the question and answer session. Then again, we will have a short break. Then we'll do the last session. So there will be 4 sessions. 4 sessions. Morning, say 2 sessions. Afternoon, 2 sessions. And that and the end of the day will, because this is the my participating in this new Gomba, it's the first time. We will end with the short 21 Thara prayer, or reciting 21 Thara prayers together, and short dedication. So that's how we're going to do today's activity. Okay. As Andrea said, if you have difficulty to understand my English, some of the terms, then you can raise your hands. Don't need to feel shy, don't need to feel embarrassed. Just raise your hands and ask, can you repeat that? Then I will try to explain, I'll repeat it, or I'll put it in a different words or different sentence. Because most of my English sentence are Tibetan structured sentence. So the verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, they all are, jumbled there might be in the sentence, but they are not in the right order. So, therefore, if you don't understand, the sentence or the terms or the things what I'm saying, you can just raise your hand, ask me to repeat that again, and I'll try to do that. Okay? Oh yeah. Now, first we are going to spend a few minutes to have a right attitude or the positive mind. And you all have prayer book. In that prayer book, there might be a section for Mahayana prayer book before the Mahayana teachings. Is there? Yeah, it must be there. So in other words, have the verse for refuge and bodhicitta. Yeah.
Actually, when they say the starting before you get teachings, they started with a phrase to Shakyamuni Buddha, and then that follows by the Herzsutra actually, and then next the Tachi with the lion face, and then there's out of the Georgia about the teachers,
There might be saying Mahayana prayers for the teaching occasion. Isn't there?
Na, 73 fangen die Gebete zu Beginn der unseres.
Ja, aber sucht
It's all right. Just have the refuge.
The refuge is in the beginning.
Okay. Just have the refuge verse.
Yes. Refuge is in the beginning. For example, daily prayers.
Okay.
So we have the refuge.
Okay, just
then
have the
we have the
refuge.
for individual there.
Okay, just have the refuge. Can you say the
it's page 34. 34.
I don't understand that.
34.
Okay, page 34.
Yeah.
There's the refuge lines. So we are going to say that refuge lines. You are going to say that refuge lines. I think this time say in Tibetan. Say 3 times refuge lines in Tibetan. Now I will explain first the purpose of why we are saying these these 4 lines 3 times, and that is important. Whether you say it or not, that's not important. What is important is to understand why we are saying the refuge lines. That's important. Now the saying the refuge lines at the beginning of the class in the Tibetan tradition, also I think other Buddhist traditions also do. The reason is this. These 4 lines capture 2 most important the mental states to be experienced, to be actualized. These 2 mental states are mind going for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma and the Sangha. That's the first 2 lines. And the last 2 lines, the altruistic awakened mind. So these 4 lines captures 2 most important mental states, mental states. In general, in the Buddhist traditions, as a Buddhist, having mind going for refuge to the 3 jewels is extremely helpful, useful to oneself, to one's own mind. And as a follower of the Mahayana tradition, then the second important states of mind, altruistic awakened mind, bodhicitta, is extremely helpful mental states to be experienced, to be realized. So because of that, in the Tibetan traditions at the beginning of the class, although there are many recitations traditionally, but within all the many recitations, this 4-line recitation is very, very crucial. It's not just culture, it has a tremendous purpose of doing it. So that therefore people who are, as I said earlier, I'm sure there are people who are already in a daily basis trying to cultivate, trying to bring the mind going for refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. For those people, at the beginning of the class, right here and now, bring that mind going for refuge to the Buddha as one's own teacher, spiritual guide. Go for refuge to the Dhamma, mind which goes refuge to the Dhamma as your actual means, method to be actualized, to be realized within yourself. And Dhamma here refers to not the oral teachings, Dhamma here refers to the contents of the oral teachings. The contents of the oral teachings are the concentration, ethics, and the wisdom. These are the Dhamma where we go for refuge. And these are how to go for refuge to the Dhamma, to actualize, to experience these realizations within ourselves. So go for refuge to Dhamma, and then go for refuge to Sangha. That means those Sangha members. Sangha member here is not only exclusion to the monks and nuns. Sangha member here refers to the people, whether they are monk or not, but as long as they follow the Buddha Dhamma very closely, and live their life according to the Buddha's teachings, they are Sangha. Generally speaking, very strictly speaking, Sangha refers to a little bit in a different way. Generally speaking, Sangha refers to those people who live their life according to the Buddha's teachings, follow Buddha's teachings very closely, and take refuge to Sangha means to have the mind. Those people are my spiritual friends with whom I share my experiences while I'm in the spiritual path. With them I will discuss, I will learn from them. So that is the mind going for refuge to Sangha. So people who are already familiar with the going for refuge to the three jewels, now is the time to bring that mind, as strong as possible, as deep as possible. Then on top of that, people who are not only taking refuge to the three jewels, but are also, in a daily basis, trying to transform your mind into this altruistic awakened mind. The mind very strongly, clearly, with the determination, want to give help and support to all living beings, without any exception, without any discrimination. And that mind, which is called altruistic awakened mind. So people who are, again, trying to transform your mind into that kind of mind, again, now, right here and now, bring that mind as the intention, motivation to join the class. Although in the class I'm going to listen on this particular topic, which is on emptiness from the Heartsutra, but overall, my reason to join the class is to make these two minds, the minds going for refuge to the three jewels and this altruistic awakened mind, make these two minds as stronger, deeper, more profound, and eventually to make these two minds part of my states of minds. For that purpose, I'm here to join the class. So that is very, very helpful. But people who are not familiar with this recitation and not familiar with these two minds, for those people, think very clearly, very strongly. Today I'm here. Physically I'm here. Verbally I may say some prayers. Mentally I will participate, listening, contemplating, so on and so forth. I'm here in order to enhance, promote, further develop those helpful, useful, beneficial states of minds and the behaviors that I already have. Make them stronger, the more profound, enhance them in order to help myself, in order to benefit to myself, also to benefit to the others initially, beings who live with me, who live close to me, then eventually to expand that to all living beings. For that purpose, I'm here. And that is very, very helpful. But yet it is very simple, which we all are able to have that kind of state of mind, very strongly and very clearly. So that is very, very important. Usually I say this part of the beginning of the class, spending 5-10 minutes to make sure to have the right states of mind, or the right intention or the motivation, is as important as the actual whole day activities. The whole day activity, listening, contemplating, so on and so forth, they are very important. But spending at the beginning of the session, spending 5-10 minutes to make sure to have the right motivation is as equal, as important as the whole day events. So therefore, I'm sort of repeating again and again, say to make sure to have the right positive states of mind. So we will say the refuge and bodhicitta lines together 3 times, and during that, really try all your best to have that kind of state of mind. Okay? Sangye Chulan Soge Choknam La Chanjo Pado Dami Yapsuchi Dali Jinsogi Pesunam Ki Dora Benche Sangye Rupa Sho Sangye Chulan Soge Choknam La Chanjo Pado Dami Yapsuchi Dali Jinsogi Pesunam Ki Dora Benche Sangye Rupa Sho Sangye Chulan Sogi Choknam La Chanjo Pado Dami Yapsuchi Dali Jinsogi Pesunam Ki Dora Benche Sangye Rupa Sho. with this positive and constructive mental state as an intention to join the class. Now we'll do a short silent meditation, about 15 minutes. And as I said earlier, purpose of this meditation, during this silent meditation, our main task is to bring our minds at this place with this body and make that mind fully alert, fully aware to the present moment, without any thought, judgment, interpretation, and the analysis, free from all the conceptual thought, but very simply be right here and now, and fully aware to the present moment. To experience that kind of awareness, it will be helpful if you follow these 3 steps. The first step is to find out a right, comfortable body posture, sitting posture. Sitting posture which creates the atmosphere, which creates the condition to invite your mind to live in this body and to rest and to raise awareness. So to find out that kind of comfortable sitting posture. When you have found the comfortable right sitting posture, then choose an object. Particularly for the beginner, it is helpful to have an object, such as your breathing. Very simple, just your natural breathing. Choose that, or such as an image of Buddha. But it is up to the individual which object suits you. So choose an object and make that object very, very clear to your mind. And the third step is the actual meditation. When the chosen object is very clear to your mind, then very, very simply place your mind on that chosen object and raise the awareness. And as I said earlier, without any judgment, any analysis, any investigation on the object, but very simply be fully aware of the object. By doing that, then to cultivate. But there are many different terms I use to this kind of mental quality: concentration, awareness, mindfulness. Whatever term you use, what you should be doing mentally, your mind is, with that chosen object and without any conceptual thought, but very simply, fully aware of the object. So we are going to do that meditation for 15 minutes. because the text that we are going to study is the Herzsutra, and you have the copy of the text in prayer book. It will be good to read in German once together. So you read in German, I will read slowly in Tibetan. So,
76, Seite 76.
Okay.
Ist das Herzsutra.
Okay, that's the Herzsutra. Just the Herzsutra, not the later Herzsutra. Just the Herzsutra.
Just the
Yeah. So it will be good to read the Herzsutra in an atmosphere of that where the Buddha, the Buddha statue is. Feel, strongly imagine the Buddha, historical Buddha, the Buddha Shakyamuni Gautama is present, and not in a form of statue, but here what we can see is the statue, but in our feeling, in our imagination, as a living being, and with his all the great qualities, particularly his qualities of fully cultivated love and compassion to all living beings, including to you, and his fully cultivated great wisdom. So that read the Herzsutra in that kind of atmosphere, that Buddha, historical Buddha, is present in front of us. Then, if you people who are happy to edit some other great beings, past and present, if you have teachers, you can strongly imagine they are also present, in front of you where you are reading the Herzsutra. So read the Herzsutra in that kind of atmosphere. Although you're reading in German, when Buddha taught Herzsutra, I don't know which language, Pali, Sanskrit, definitely not in Tibetan, but read the Herzsutra and have that kind of atmosphere, that kind of feeling. The Buddha is present in front of you, and with his love, compassion, and wisdom, all living beings, including yourself. Then if you would like to add it on, other great beings are also present, do that. So in that with that atmosphere, read Herzsutra together in German. Okay.
Ich verneige mich vor den edlen drei Lehren, diese Worte wirklich seiner Zeit. Der Buddha saß zusammen mit einer großen Gemeinschaft von Mönchen und einer großen Gemeinschaft von Bodhisattvas auf dem Berg Zu dieser Zeit verweilte er in dem meditativen Gleichgewicht der Konzentration auf die Vielzahl von Phänomenen, welche tiefgründige Erscheinung genannt wird. Zur gleichen Zeit betrachtete auch der edle Bodhisattva ausschließlich die tiefgründige Praxis der Vollkommenheit von Weisheit und sah die 5 Aggregate als Lehr von innewohnender Existenz. Dann, durch die Inspiration des Buddha, sagte der ehrwürdige Shariputra zu dem edlen Bodhisattva wie sollte jedes Kind aus Sutra-Familie üben, das die tiefgründige Praxis der Vollkommenheit von Weisheit anwenden will. Da sagte er, der edle Bodhisattva sagte zu dem ehrenwerten Shariputra, jeder Sohn und jede Tochter aus guter Familie, die tiefgründige Praxis der Vollkommenheit von Weisheit anwenden wollen, sollten folgende Ansicht annehmen. Sie sollten auch die 5 Aggregate sehr korrekt und nachdrücklich als Lehr von innewohnender Natur ansehen. Form ist Lehr, Lehrheit ist Form. ist nichts anderes als Form und Form ist auch nichts anderes als Leerheit. Ebenso sind Empfindungen, Erkennen, gestaltende Faktoren und auch Bewusstsein leer. Shariputra, so sind alle Phänomene Leerheit. Sie haben keine Kennzeichnung. Sie sind unerschaffen, nicht beendet, ohne Verunreinigung, nicht frei von Verunreinigung, ohne Verringerung und ohne Vervollständigung. Shariputra, daher gibt es in der Leerheit keine Form, keine Empfindung, kein Erkennen, keine gestaltenden Faktoren, kein Hauptbewusstsein, kein Auge, kein Ohr, keine Nase, keine Zunge, keinen Körper, keinen Geist, keine Form, keinen Ton, keinen Geruch, keinen Geschmack, nichts Tastbares und keine Phänomene. Angefangen von der Nicht-Existenz der Sphäre der Augen bis hin zur Nicht-Existenz der Sphäre des Geistes und weiter bis hin zur Sphäre des geistigen Hauptbewusstseins existiert auch nichts. Angefangen von der Nicht-Existenz von Unwissenheit und der Nicht-Existenz von der Beendigung von Unwissenheit bis hin zur Nicht-Existenz von Alter und Tod und der Beendigung von Alter und Tod existiert auch nichts. Genauso gibt es weder Leid, Ursache, Beendigung oder Weg, weder transzendente Weisheit erlangen noch nicht erlangen. Daher, Sharipu, weil es kein Erlangen gibt, verlassen sich Bodhisattvas auf die Vollkommenheit der Weisheit, verweilen in ihr und haben keine geistigen Verdunklungen und keine Angst. Das Falsche gänzlich zurücklassen, gelangen sie letztendlich über das Leiden hinaus. Alle Buddhas, die in den 3 Zeiten verweilen, verlassen sich ebenfalls auf die Vollkommenheit der Weisheit und erreichen in unübertrefflicher, vollständiger Erleuchtung die vollkommene Buddhaschaft. Deshalb das Mantra der Vollkommenheit von Weisheit, das Mantra großen Wissens, das unübertroffene Mantra, das Mantra, das dem gleich, das ohne Gleichen ist, das Mantra, das alle Leiden vollständig stillt, das untrüglich und daher als wahr zu bezeichnen ist. Das Mantra der Vollkommenheit von Weisheit ist verkündet. Tayaka Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisoha. Shariputra, sagte der Bodhisattva, auf diese Weise soll man sich in der tiefgründigen Praxis der Vollkommenheit von Weisheit üben. Dann erhob sich der Buddha aus jener Konzentration und ließ den edlen Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara sein Lob zukommen. Gut, o Sohn guter Familie, gut. So wie du es dargelegt hast, sollte man die Vollkommenheit der Weisheit üben, und es wird auch die Tathagatas erfreuen. Nachdem der Buddha diese Worte gesprochen hatte, freuten sich der ehrenwerte Shariputra, der edle Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, der ganze Dhanapurus, das gesamte Gefolge, und die Welt der Götter, Menschen, Halbgötter und sich von Luft ernährende Wesen und priesen die Worte des Buddha.
Until 11:45, I will talk on the subject until 11:45. Then we will have 15 minutes break. Then again we'll start 1 hour. Now this sutra, first I want to talk briefly to give you, many of you know this, but in case if there are people who are quite new, this kind of, studying this kind of subject, it is good to know first what is the main topic. What is the main topic in this subject? In the wider context of the Buddha's, the Buddha's Buddhist teachings, and that will be helpful, particularly people who are quite new in this kind of, studying this kind of subject. Buddha himself said in many occasions, to follow his teachings or to apply his teachings is not just pure faith, not just mere faith, or blind faith. He himself said in many occasions, to follow his teachings, we need to we need to cultivate understanding, or in the Western term, knowledge. But knowledge is not in the Western, the philosophy or Western understanding about knowledge is quite different from the, the Eastern understanding about knowledge. But that is the closest term is available in English, knowledge. Buddha himself said on many occasions that is very important to people who are interested, want to follow his teachings. What we need to gain, cultivate, develop knowledge. Or the other term is used, wisdom. And that's what he said. Now, the point is this. As a follower of Buddha, there are, in the Theravadan tradition, they use three sort of, if I use this term, three seals or three axioms. That's the term English use. Axioms, seals. Seals, you know that, yeah? When you, in the old time, when you send documents to one country to another country, and that document is wrapped, and then they put, with the wax, they put some stamp. That is called seal. Or axiom. Three in the wider Buddhist teachings, include wider in the sense of including the Theravadan teachings, then it's called, there are three seals, but in the Mahayana teachings tend to say there are four seals. And that is important. 4 seals. Four seals are this. Then you will understand what does that mean, this funny word. What seals to do with his teachings. So the 4 seals are this. To view ourselves to view impermanent things are as impermanent. To view, to understand, to see those impermanent things are as impermanent. That's the first one. As a follower of Buddha, seeing, understanding, realizing those impermanent things are as impermanent is very, very important to follow his teachings. The second seal is this. Again, there's slightly different use it by the Mahayana and the Theravadan. At this stage, I will use the Theravadan, Theravadan way of presenting this. In second seal, all those impermanent things are subject to bring dukkha, suffering. All those impermanent things are, or if I use other terms, have a potential to bring suffering. And viewing that, understanding that is very, very important to follow his teachings. And third seal is there isn't any substantially existent thing. There isn't any substantially existent thing. There isn't any substantially existent things. And our subject, Heartsutra subject, is related to that third one. If I use the usual term, selflessness, to see, to view, to understand that all things are selflessness, absence of substantially existent. That's the third seal. And the last seal is, the nirvana, or the cessation, is the peace. Nirvana or cessation is the peace. As a follower of Buddha, or people who are interested in Buddha's teachings, and not necessarily to become Buddhist, but to want to use Buddha's teachings to help, this life, to reduce the problems, difficulties, and so on and so forth. These four, the sort of understandings or views or the seals are extremely important. So why there are four, you've got to understand. The first one is to view, to understand, or to see, that all impermanent things are as impermanent. Viewing that, seeing that is very important. So that viewing that is seal in the sense of, if you really want to be a Buddhist, you must have that view. You must hold that view. And that's why it's called seal. Why it's called seal, as saying, I'm holding, thinking and believing I'm a Buddhist, but if you have a different view on that context, viewing that impermanent things are, I'm not sure whether they are all impermanent or not, then although you may go for refuge perfectly, but there's difficulties, whether you're Buddhist or not. That's why I call seal. Kalin Mindawa in Tibetan. Kalin Mindawa, that means, you are not what you call the, I shouldn't go there because I'm going too much. Yeah, so that's important. So out of these four seals or four axioms, our subject is the third one. Third one is to understand, to view, to see, there isn't any substantially existent thing. Substantially existent things. That means all things and events, including yourself, are empty or absence of the substantial reality. And that is the subject. So it will take time. Particularly people who are new in this subject, it will take time. First, try to get the terms. Get the terms. Then, with the terms, then try to think. What does that mean? Absence or empty of substantially existent. What does that mean? To get those simple things first, the term absence or empty of substantially existent. So the subject in the Heart Sutra is the third one, and a very, very crucial subject to understand, to realize, to experience. Okay? Now, in that third seal, Theravadan Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism, there are some common what's called agreement. Common agreement in the sense of, yes, Buddha taught selflessness. In Sanskrit, it is called anatma. Anatma, selflessness. Buddha taught that teaching. Buddha taught that teaching. There's no argument. There's no disagreement on that level. Theravadan Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism. Whether Buddha taught the teachings on anatma, selflessness, or not, there's no argument. Both traditions agree, yes, Buddha taught the selflessness, teaching on selflessness or anatma. Now, when it comes to detail explanation, what is this anatma, selflessness, to be understood, which is very important to understand. When it comes to detailed explanation, then there are differences between the Mahayana teachings and the Theravadan teachings. Not only differences in the detailed explanation, but even the usage of term are sometimes quite different. In the Theravadan teachings, hardly they will use the term shunyata. In Sanskrit, in Tibetan, in English, emptiness. In Tibetan, dongpanyi. They won't use that. I realize the modern Theravadan scholars and some teachers starting to use the term in English, emptiness, to talk about selflessness. But traditional, the Theravadan teachings, the term shunyata, emptiness, is not used. What they use is only anatma, in English, selflessness. That's used. That's the common use. But when it comes to the Mahayana teachings, on this subject, the third seal, then not only the Mahayana teachings not only use the term, the selflessness, but also use the term emptiness. In other words, not in Sanskrit, not only use the anatma, which is the selflessness, but also use the term shunyata, which is emptiness. So even the usage of term in these two major Buddhist traditions, when it comes to detailed explanation in the third seal, then there are differences. So I think it is quite useful you to bear in mind. bear in mind. Here the point is not one is right, one is wrong. Not in that area. I'm raising the point simply us to get the understanding overall how this topic, the subject which taught in the Heartsutra, how that subject fits into overall Buddhist teachings. Overall in the sense of the teachings of the Theravada teachings and the Mahayana teachings. And that's how it fits. It fits into 4 seals, 4 axioms. In the 4 seals or 4 axioms, it's in the third one. Third one is to view or to see that all things are absence of substantial reality, substantial existence, or selflessness, and that's how it fits. So that's quite important to bear in mind. Now, why this 4th seal or the 3rd seal, understanding of selflessness, or now if I use the overall Mahayana term, emptiness. Why that is so important? Emptiness is very special. My answer is no. Emptiness is nothing special. What is special is understanding emptiness is special. That is the point. Emptiness is nothing special. It is talking about, from the Buddhist point of view, the reality. What is there? What is important is, that mind which understands what is there is special, is extremely, extremely useful, helpful to sort it out our difficulties. And that is the point. That is the point. So there's this one of the great Indian master, chanted Kirti, around 4th, 5th century, great Indian master. That means whether Buddha comes to this world or not, the reality of the things and events, that things and events which are empty, which are emptiness, is there. There's no difference whether Buddha comes or not. Things are empty or substantially existent is there. What is special, what is amazing is, the Buddha taught, initially first himself, then eventually to the others, to say, realize that reality, understand that nature, that reality, that is special, and that is amazing. That amazing part is, Buddha taught to his follower, say, to understand that reality. But the reality itself is there. Whether Buddha comes or not, it is there. But what is amazing, what is inspiring is, Buddha taught us to understand that reality. And that is amazing. Okay, that's something quite useful. Why it is so amazing? Why that understanding of that reality is so amazing, so useful, so important? That understanding, the understanding of emptiness, understanding of selflessness of the things and events, that understanding is the direct antidote, the direct antidote, that root of our suffering, root of our difficulties. And that is something very, very, for us as a living being, as a human being, initially oneself, do not want any pain and difficulties. Then slowly expand, don't want to see, don't want to hear other living beings experiencing pain and difficulties. As that sort of living being, at that sort of human being, if you hear, if you see, oh, there is a solution, there is a means, a method, to get rid of the root of the suffering, then that is something wow. In sometimes those what you call the insurance companies, those big companies, when they advertise in the television their product, and they will say how benefit, how easy, how cheap, blah blah blah. Then sometimes they say, wow, that's one. That is, if we really truly understand, there is a solution, there is a means to get rid of the root of the suffering. That is one factor, isn't it? So therefore it is important to understand why we are studying, why we are studying this subject which explained from this text. And that is the point. That is the point. You and me, day and night, awake or in sleep, consciously and subconsciously, don't want any form of difficulty. Any form of difficulty. Oneself. And if we slowly train, we will have the same sort of feeling. We don't want to see, we don't want to hear, we don't want to, hear, any living being experience difficulties and pain. And if that is our yearning, if that is our longing, then like Buddha said, yes, there is a solution. You can do that. You can experience that. That is something very, very, the amazing statements. Amazing statements. Lama Tsongkhapa, this great Tibetan master, scholar, yet also great practitioner around 14th century. He said, Motsar Vedam, Te Motsar, Mejung Vedam, Te Mejung. Motsar Vedam, Te Motsar. That means, this is more amazing than amazing. Motsar Vedam, Te Motsar. Mejung Vedam, Te Mejung. This is most marvelous things than the marvelous. Mejung Vedam, Te Mejung. Why I said that? This is important. If we truly, fully, completely understand that I really do not want any form of suffering. Same time, I really don't want to, other living beings, any living beings, to want to experience any form of suffering. If we get that one from our heart, then when we hear this kind of statements, then we will feel strongly, deeply, will feel amazing, marvelous. Then we will feel. At the moment we don't feel that, because our yearning and longing want to be free from suffering, dukkha, is very shallow. It's very shallow. Shallow in the sense of only when we are suffering, gross suffering, when you're experiencing gross suffering, then we say, what can I do to overcome this pain and difficulties? When sun is shining, lying down on the golden beach, that's forgotten. See, how amazing. Recently, in Iceland, there was a volcano eruption, and I was in Portugal, doing same thing, blah blah blah, and the UK the weather was not good, and in Portugal the weather was really good, and I've been living in London for the last 16, 17 years, and the city is very, although I enjoy, there are so many things you can do, so many things you can see, sometimes you don't know how you spend the entire day just walking round and round and round, and but still, sometimes city is very hectic and very, stressful. So when I was in Portugal, and the place where I had the class was in the countryside, completely in a forest area, and when we finished class, and weekend the weather was excellent, and we finished class Sunday around 1:30, and I asked the couple who looking after me, asked them, can you check the website whether there's any problem or not, and he came with the bad news. Oh, tomorrow your flight is cancelled. So I'm thinking, is it bad news? Or it's good news, because the weather is good and the environment is good. So that is our usual how we our wanting to be free from suffering is very, very shallow. That's why when we learn this kind of subject, we don't feel this wow factor, and that is here we need. That's why the second out of 4. Do you remember for seals? The second one is very important, to see the dukkha, nature of dukkha in Sanskrit, the nature of suffering, fully and completely. Very, very important. Stronger, deeper, complete that understanding we have, the nature of dukkha, nature of suffering. When we hear these kind of subject, tremendous excitement, tremendous excitement. Like for example, if you are driving and your car got punctured, and in your car boot you do not have you do not have extra wheel, and you do not have all the other things, then you are caught up there, and suddenly in UK there are different companies, they call AA, RSC, those companies will look after you. Suddenly if you hear that sound, siren, that's a solution. That kind of excitement. So that is important. That's very important us to know why this subject is so important to learn. Okay. Now, Sutra itself. What I'm reading in English. Okay, and I'm sure you have the German translation, and Sutra itself is called. It is titled in English here. It said Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. The heart of the perfection of Wisdom Sutra. Now this Wisdom Sutra. First of all, what is Sutra? What is Sutra? This is again Sanskrit term, Sutra. So in Buddhism, when the term Sutra is used, refer to a particular text. then that means that text, Theravadan tradition as well as minor tradition, that means that text is attributed to the Buddha, the historical Buddha. Saying that means it is taught by the Buddha. So I use the term attributed because there are lots of debate whether Buddha taught all these sutras or not. So that I tend to use this term attributed to Buddha. So in Pali, they may use slightly different term, sutta, in Sanskrit, sutra, otherwise the same. So when term sutra is used, that means that text is attributed to the Buddha. That means taught by Buddha. And sometimes another term is used, shastra. Shastra. Shastra, that means that text is not taught by Buddha, but written by the Indian masters as a commentary, directly or indirectly, as a commentary of one of the Buddha's teaching. And in Sanskrit, that is called Shastra. So the entire, at this stage, I'm just talking in the Indian, what you call the teachings in Buddhism. When the teachings are called sutra, that means these are taught, attributed to the historical Buddha. When the teachings are called shastra, these are the teachings taught by the Indian masters. That's called shastra. Now in the Tibetan Buddhism, there are 108 volumes of sutra. That means 108 volumes of sutra attributed to the Buddha. 108. And there are 230 something, I can't remember exact number, 230 something volumes in Shastra. They all are written by the Indian masters. Okay? This sounds very much technical. What does that make difference to my daily lives? Not very much. This will not make you a cup of tea, or this will not pay your mortgage. But when you read these texts, useful. Very simple. People can understand, okay, that's unreal. What does that mean? Sutra means that. That's it. Easier to, when you read the text and so on and so forth. Now in the sutra, in Tibetan Buddhism, there are 108 volumes. Out of 108 volumes, there are 12 volumes. 12 volumes are called extensive, what you call the Panchaparamita Sutras. Out of 108, there are 12 volumes are called, extensive. In other long version of the Panchaparamita Sutra. And sometimes they are called 100,000 verses, version of Panchaparamita Sutra. 100,000. 100,000? Yeah, 100,000. These numbers makes me confused. So anyway, 100,000 verses. And that is the longest version of Panchaparamita Sutra. We'll come later for what does it mean Panchaparamita. First to get at the title. Then, Niti. The second version of Panchaparamita Sutra, there are, I think, four volumes. Now I start to get lost. 4 volumes. After 12, then there are 4 volumes, which are the middling sutra of Panchaparamita Sutra. In there are 25 there are 20,000 verses in that middling. Then there's one volume, which is called Panchaparamita Sutra. That is short. Not shortest, the short. It has 8,000 verses. 8,000 verses. So now you can see that out of 108 sutras, volume of sutras attributed to Buddha, 12 most extensive Panchaparamita Sutra, middling 4 volumes, middling Panchaparamita Sutra, and the last 1 volume, 8,000 verses, Panchaparamita Sutra. Okay. Now the present one, Heartsutra, is not any one of those 3. But then there are shorter, much shorter, not in a volume, but like 2-3 pages, like Heartsutra. Only, in the Tibetan long version, there are only 1.5 pages. And there are other Panchaparamita Sutra like Dhammankatra Sutra, have 20-something pages. So there are, after those big volumes, then there are much shorter, the versions of Panchaparamita Sutras in that 108, the volumes of taught by Buddha Sutra. So that is something first sorted out. What is Sutra? Yeah, we'll take a 15 minutes break. I can see you already getting it. Thank you. Yeah, we'll come back 12. Come back 12.